love witches. I think of all the magical creatures, it's probably the one that I'd want to be the most, you know? Just to have a level of power and be able to wield magic or like sorcery. It seems like the most interesting version of being a magical creature in a magical world. And more than that, I also love the aesthetics of being a witch. On one fateful day where I was just wasting away on TikTok, I found a video that kind of explained the aesthetic, and they called it whimsigothic. And whilst that's a pretentious ass name for this aesthetic, it is beautiful. And whilst you can just type up the word witchy aesthetic and this will come up, I think whimsigothic comes up with like a nicer array of pictures, because a lot of witch stuff specifically goes towards something like Harry Potter, instead of just kind of bringing in all of the different types of magic and witchy aesthetics that there are. And obviously after hearing the name of this aesthetic, I obviously ran to Pinterest, the home of the aesthetics, to just like scroll through pictures and pictures and pictures of this, and I was like, well, this is obviously how I've got to decorate the rest of my house now. Not that I have a house, but when I have a house, I will be looking like I'm a deranged witch, because that is an incredible aesthetic to have. I think being the witch, I kind of love it. I actually don't respect the people who are like, I'm the daughters of the witches you couldn't burn. People who like actually look at the stones and they're like, and this stone means that I will be powerful and the man who wants me will want me forever. I'm like, you guys are a little bit deranged. I don't really respect you guys, but I just love the aesthetics of being a witch, because I don't believe witchcraft is real. Like some of the people who like actually go outside and do like their little rituals, do I think they live a better life than me and definitely have interesting sisterhoodly friends that I do not have? Yes. Do I think they're insane? Absolutely, yeah. But regardless, I wanted to kind of explore this aesthetic more in more like witchy movies, because I really like this aesthetic and I feel like you see it in movies more than you see it in anything else. I know there's some shows, things like The Old Bewitched, things like Sabrina the Teenage Witch and Charmed, but I wasn't going to watch like 5 seasons of like mediocre television because I wanted an aesthetic. But movies, I was willing to watch the movies. I started with The Witches of Eastwick, and I feel like I was definitely oversold at how much magic there was in this one. It's much less whimsy and way more drama, but with the level of actors that they had in this movie, and it's directed by George Miller, I don't think I can really look at this and be like, well, this was a bad film. It's really not. It's actually very unsettling, and Jack Nicholson really comes in to play his weird little guy role every time, and he eats it up, and I can't really blame him for it. He's just that good. This movie is very strange. It's nonsensical to the point of no return. Like, the devil himself has 3 of the most beautiful women ever dick-whipped for him, and they're all okay with just sharing the devil. That's very iconic. I will say it's an incredibly horny-ass film. I really wasn't expecting that going in. Like, this film is not that much about witches. Even though it looks cool, it's much more about being weird. Like, he's weird. He's a weirdo. Have you ever seen Satan without his little ponytail, you know? And then I watched Practical Magic, and now this is a movie about magic. It's sisterhood and covens, like, let's go! Cursed to be without love and to love anyway? Exactly. Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock, you are the moment here and forever on, you know? Like, also, killing your sister's abusive boyfriend is kind of a serve. Like, you can't even deny that. And this movie is very witchy. Like, it's very on-the-nose, whimsy-gothic vibes. The root of belladonna, you know? Like, the type of words that you don't really hear in any other type of movies, but you're like, in a witch movie? Yeah, you're gonna hear about belladonna. I love the set design. It's just a beautiful movie with a beautiful setting and beautiful... I love the set designs, and I would say it is, quote-unquote, the female gaze when it comes to all the witchy sets and the house. Ugh, the house, the practical magic house. Also, if you're a witch and you're going to kill every man that you love, might as well be gay. Like, you might as well try being gay for like a little bit, you know? Yeah, it was the 90s, but let's not resort to fucking cops. Like, at least let's try out being gay first. Then I watched Elvira, Mistress of Darkness, and this is a really fun film. She's a very entertaining character. She's really fun to follow around. She's goofy, she's confident, she's flirty, she's sexy. She has it going. But the film is riding hard into the male gaze to the point where I'm like, I don't think you can back out of the male gaze at this point. It was so hard. Like, Elvira has her boobs out the entire movie, and that's like the look, you know? She's not witchy, she's punk rock, and I respect that. You know, you don't have to be witchy to look like an emo. Like, the movie wants us to know that Elvira does not like being hit on, she doesn't like male attention, and she's confident enough to stand up for herself. And yet, at every turn, New boob joke. Boob joke? Oh, she's in prison and she's getting groped? Brilliant. Oh, she's in her house and the boys are in her window trying to take pictures of her topless? Yeah, that's great. That's just so funny, guys. Her body is played for laughs so hard, but at the same time, we're like, she's still sexy and confident. I will say, the one thing this has for it is that Elvira is not like other girls, but like in a good way. You know, she's never really hitting on other women. Like, the women are disliking her. They're kind of like, we hate you. And she's like, what have I ever done to you? And I kind of have to respect that. She's not like, I'm better than you because I'm punk rock and I wear my hair like I'm emo Dolly Parton. Like, I've got to respect that. I feel like they do spend a lot of time on misogyny instead of magic, though. I feel like they could have done way more hijinks. This is the type of film where I think if it was like a Netflix streamer movie that they remade, I think it could do really well. But I feel like they would also make it really boring because Netflix is Netflix. And then I watched Death Becomes Her, and Meryl Streep, even though it was already known, you will always be famous. To be fair, Bruce Willis and Goldie Hawn are also amazing in this film. Like, just incredible performances all the way throughout. This is like the best movie I think I watched for this video. Like, I think this movie is so much fun. It's so funny, it's witchy, it's whimsical. It's incredible. I love it. I love the idea. Actually, we don't need him, and they come together and they're like, actually, sisters for life. I respect that. Even though it took us ages to get to the point where the girls were like, girls for life. I've got to respect that. Goldie Hawn and Meryl Streep being girls forever. Yeah. Also, this movie is really pretty and it just looks really fun and the vibes are very fun. I just feel like this movie would have been fun to make, and I can just see that this movie will always be famous. And I feel like more people should watch this movie. This movie is pretty famous anyway. I feel like this movie should be one of the movies where we look at Meryl Streep's career and we're like, we should watch this one. Because I feel like we always see her do these like dramatic roles. And whilst, you know, dramatic roles are great, but it's just like, oh, you're gonna be serious now? Oh, you're serious? Good. You're serious. Brilliant. But it's like seeing her do like fun, entertaining, enjoyable, joyous, upbeat. Like, yeah, I want to see Meryl Streep do that. She has the range. She has the range. Then I watched a movie that I probably should have watched when I was like 10, and that was The Witches, like the 1990s version, and honestly, I did not like that movie that much. I think, knowing what I know now about Roald Dahl, this movie really had me going like, yeah, I think he is really anti-Semitic. Like, this was a really weird film. Like, I understand that, like, the anti-Semitism is not overt, but it's there. Like, the description of the witches and the fact they eat children, yeah, okay, anti-Semitism is coming through there. Definitely. Also, this movie is so dull. Like, I've read the book, and I read the book when I was probably like 9 or something, but I remember, like, every Roald Dahl book, regardless of what he's like as a person, is upbeat, fun, whimsical, and fast, quick-paced. We're like running to see what happens next. We want to see everything. It's obviously a children's book, but it's got a lot of like marvel and wonder to it that I don't think this movie has at all. It's so great, and I don't understand why. Maybe also because I'm comparing it to the new one that came out like 2 years ago. I never finished watching it, but I did start watching it on Halloween, except for the fact that me and my friends got like 20 minutes into it. We were like, actually, we're actually way too drunk and tired to watch this, and instead we spent 4 hours watching K-pop music videos. I don't know if that was a better use of our time, but we did do that instead of watching The Witches. But now I've seen the original one, and I do want to watch this one more, like the 2020 version more, because this one was so dull. Like, it's grey. And I understand that it's like not the most fun story Roald Dahl has, because obviously the whole thing is that he gets turned into a little mouse by the witches who are out to eat the children. But it's just so boring. I don't get it. I also think perhaps I didn't like it because I liked when the witches are the good people, because then you can see them do the magic and then it's fun. But obviously here we're on the side of the little boy, and I don't mind that, but it's just like something super whimsical about it, which is something that Roald Dahl has in boatloads, which I just think is a little bit taken out. I can, however, see this being entertaining for like a little child though, so perhaps it kind of gets its tone across. Then I watched the new Hocus Pocus 2, and I really liked it. I didn't think it was like the best movie I've ever seen. I also don't think it's better than the original, but it's a fun movie. I don't know if we needed this movie, but it was a decent watch regardless. I think it probably made Disney some money, but I don't really understand it otherwise. But obviously the witches are just, they're amazing. They're phenomenal. They're setting cunt. Like, they are so good. I don't really care for the stories about everyone else, but every single scene with the witches in it, yeah, they're eating everyone else up. Like, no one is even touching them in this movie. They're all so good. Like, Sarah Jessica Parker, it's Bette Midler, it's Kate Najimy. Like, it doesn't matter. They're working so well together. They know each other. They're having fun making this movie, and that's really what matters. Like, it's a decent watch. It's a good Halloween watch, and you can watch it with your family. You can watch it with your friends. You can watch it on your own. It's a good time. And sometimes you just need a good time movie with a bit of witches in it. That's, like, at the end of the day, it's serving what it needed to serve, and that's all that's really necessary. After that, I watched The Love Witch, and I don't think I got this movie. Like, I know the director is, like, somebody who specifically goes around being like, I am a feminist director, and therefore there's a lot of feminism in this movie. And I don't know if I got feminism. Maybe I was, like, too sleepy, or maybe I just was a bit dumb. I don't know. I think I need to rewatch this movie because I was like, I understand the feminism. The feminism is both very, very overt, but also kind of subversive. Because I'm like, I'm watching it and I understand the feminism. The feminism is, like, smacking me in the face. But I'm also like, I don't understand the feminism. So maybe I need to rewatch this because I'm like, I don't really like any of these characters. But I think that's the point. I don't think you're meant to side with any of the characters. I think there's some of them that are bad, but I think some of them are just very complex. And I think I understand that as, like, people are complex. Humans are not one-dimensional. But I definitely need to watch the feminism again. I like the witchiness in this. It's specifically, I like watching her make her little potions. I like seeing her seduce the men with the potions. Above all, I think a big thing that everyone always says about this film is just it looks beautiful. It's very much an homage to, like, 60s Technicolor, 50s Technicolor films, and it looks beautiful. It's amazing. It looks incredible, and I understand the aesthetic choice and why that goes with feminism because of the time and the type of films versus the message makes sense to me. However, I'm not sure I understood many of the other messages. I think I definitely need to watch it again. I don't know when that will be, but I definitely want to watch more of her films because I'm maybe just a little bit thick and I wasn't picking up on every single piece of commentary that she's trying to give in this movie. But by God, I will learn how to color grade like that. I know that it's shot on film, which is probably why it has that dreamy, beautiful look, but it's also color graded, like, so well. I need to know how to do that. It just looks exquisite. I ended on a high. I watched The Craft last, and The Craft, yeah, that was good. I wish I watched it when I was, like, 17. Perhaps I would have been, like, that annoying witch girl, like I was criticizing in the beginning, because these girls are definitely the annoying witch girls, but at the very least, I could have been fun and punk about it like they were. Like, if you're, like, 20 and you're like, I'm a witch, please get psychiatric help, you know? Whereas they were like, we want to do magic in the spirit of Manon, and we're like, yeah, I want that for you too. They're so good. It's so much fun. You know, it's bringing us magic, female friendship, good times for our girls. You know, we love it. And it's set in school. And I also did not realize that Skeet Ulrich was in so much in the 90s. Like, I was like, oh, the guy from Riverdale? Yeah, I know him. But then I watch movies and I'm like, oh, he was in the first Scream? Oh, like, he's actually famous? Okay, cool. Honestly, I would rewatch this movie, but I feel like if you were a teenager, I think this is when it would hit the most. It's just a really fun teen kind of coming of age fantasy movie. It's really fun. It's a horror movie, but, like, I don't think it's that scary. It's very much just witchery will have consequences, and you're like, yeah, you didn't think of that beforehand? Very much good story, good plot, good vibes. They should not remake this. I feel like this is the type of movie that people would look at and be like, we should remake this, or maybe we should make a sequel or reboot this. No, we need to keep this in the 90s. It's so fresh, it looks beautiful, and it just has the best vibes because of the way that it's set in the 90s. I just don't think this would go as hard right now. I don't think anyone could take this movie and make it better, especially not now in the 2020s. Like, just leave this movie alone. I just feel like this movie has such a high chance of being rebooted because of how iconic it is, and I just can't imagine that. Like, I need people to leave it alone because it's too good on its own. That was my entire whimsigothic movie watch, and I really loved it. I love the witch vibes. I do kind of want to go as a witch for Halloween now, but I did throw my witch's hat away, so I feel like that might have been an L and I have to buy a new witch's hat. Who knows? I also do think that witchery just has such autumn vibes, you know? Grinding up your little herbs in your little pestle and mortar, pouring your potions into small little vials, you know, condemning men's souls to hell. You know, I just love it. And now I will leave you with a collection of my favourite whimsigothic pictures that I will want in my house one day because they look too incredible to not have in my life forever. But yeah, thank you for watching. I appreciate it if you actually watch this video because I feel like I'm just rambling.